This is a review of the ebook Mystic Shawls by Anna Dalvey and is published by Cooperative Press. This book contains 14 shawls, and at first glance I noticed that the shawls in this book are quite large, with most shawls requiring 750 yards or more. However, if you prefer smaller shawls, the designer does include variations of the pattern for smaller sizes. The shawls in this book were all previously released as mystery cowls by the designer and are now compiled in this 162-page book. In the introduction, the author gives a brief understanding of her first experience with mystery cowls and how she came to love them. All of the shawls in this book are heavily charted, so whether you are an experienced knitter or a knitter looking for a bit of a challenge, this is a great book to explore. Also, if you are like me and don't want all of your shawls to be the same shape, this book contains several different shapes to try out. The first shawl in this book, Mystic Waters, requires 1,200 yards and starts at the bottom with just 2 stitches. It is worked up from the bottom in a triangular shape and includes instructions for 2 different sizes. Mystic Lights requires 700 yards, and the designer uses a twisted cable instead of your standard garter edge. And she also includes a braided cable for the center spine. This shawl is available in 2 sizes. Mystic Meadows is a rectangular stole requiring 960 yards that draws its inspiration from flowing Midsummer meadows. It contains lace, cables, and noops. This is a more challenging pattern because the lace patterning is on both sides and doesn't repeat. The construction of Mystic Earth is inspired by Russian lace, but has a stockinette base. It starts with a provisional cast-on and worked up the main body of the shawl. Then the stitches are picked up for the border and grafted to close the piece. The shawl is also available in 2 sizes and requires 1,085 yards. Mystic Ice requires 2,000 yards and can be completed in a triangular or square shape. The designer has translated Celtic cables into lace for this shawl pattern. The Mystic Star design is based using Elizabeth Zimmerman's pie shawl construction and can be knit in circular or semicircle and requires 1,000 yards. Mystic Roses has been a favorite of mine since it was released in the Shaping Shawls book. There is a large and a small version of this shawl and has a detailed border and a spine design rather than your simple eyelet spine and garter edge. The large shawl requires approximately 1,700 yards. Mystic Air is a square shawl that is worked both flat and in the round. The center is worked flat and then stitches are picked up along the edge and worked in the round and is available in 3 sizes. Mystic Embers is another rectangular stole that requires 750 yards and has lace patterning on every row with a garter stitch background. Mystic Diamonds is also a rectangular stole and is worked in 2 halves and grafted in the center. It also has an adjustable width. Mystic Desire is knit from the top down in a triangular shape and contains noops, textured stitches, and various motifs. This shawl also has 2 sizes available to knit and requires 1,750 yards. Mystic Midsummer Wreath is the only crescent-shaped shawl in this book and is worked from the bottom up and requires 770 yards. The designer includes 3 different sizes for this shawl. Mystic Fire can be knit with 2 or 3 sections for a totally different look. This shawl is smaller than most of the other shawls in this book and only requires 400 yards. Mystic Delight is a beautiful multicolored shawl with a triangular shape and has an intricate lace border. One thing that I did note, even though there are several sizes for some of the patterns in this book, there is only 1 yardage amount given. So you may have to do some yardage calculation to make sure you have enough yarn for your project. If you are interested in a chance to win a copy of this ebook, please post a comment below this video on my YouTube channel. Please let me know what you like best about my review or which pattern you would most likely knit first if you were to win this book. I also encourage you to check out Anna's other shawl book, Shaping Shawls. I personally own this book and have used it to help me understand how different shaped shawls are created. As always, thanks for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Please feel free to contact me with your comments or suggestions, as I am always trying to improve the show. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube as Bloomingknitter. You can also find me on Plurk, Twitter, and Pinterest as Bloomingknitter, but I don't frequent those sites as often. I post show updates on Twitter and Facebook, and sometimes to Google Plus and Plurk. I am Miss Aerobics on MyFitnessPal and Fitbit. You can always find all the old episodes as well as links to the tutorials on the blog at www.knittingblooms.com. And you can also follow the show on Facebook. You can email me at knittingblooms@gmail.com, and show notes can be found at knittingblooms.com.